So I'm a library whore. I don't leave bad reviews. I leave honest reviews. I feel like no matter what community is on TikTok, it always comes back with some kind of drama. What's worse, your foot falling asleep or it coming back to life? It's just a girl doing what she wants, how she wants. For every one book I finish, I add 5 more to my TBR. There's just so many good books to read. It's a brand new day, and we have a brand new video for you. My name is Crystal Lee, and in today's video, we're going to talk about books. More importantly, we're going to do the BookTube newbie tag. Now, hear me out. I've done about 5 different bookish YouTube videos so far, but I just came out of the woodwork with it. Didn't introduce myself, didn't do anything, didn't say hi. But I want to use this video to say hi because I do other videos and I've had this channel for years now, but I'm introducing books into it, and why not do it the correct way by saying hi to the community, introducing myself, and telling you a little bit about me and what you can expect from my channel. So without further ado, I have a couple questions, a few suggestions, how to fight instead of fleeing. I'm kidding, that was an Aaron Burr line. Oh my God. I did grab these questions from someone else who did the BookTube newbie tag, and I did shuffle through some videos to see if there's any unique questions that I would love to answer myself. But for the most part, I think all the questions were the same. But the first question after the intro is always, why did I start this channel and why BookTube? So let's just start there. Again, I'm Crystal Lee. Hi, nice to meet you. I started this channel about 5 years ago during the pandemic that we had because it was a way to self-express and to connect with people that I couldn't connect with physically because we were all at home. I started this channel to launch and document also my brand Chance at Life, which is the idea to see life as a playground where you can build a playground, take things out of the playground, revise things in your playground, but to continue playing even though things get rough, even though you may scrape a knee, i.e. have like trauma, PTSD, things happen in life, but after it happens, you just continue playing. So I started this channel to document my process of creating that brand. And 5 years later, we're here, and but 5 years later, I've incorporated so many things into this channel because it is essentially my playground, and I rediscovered my love of books, and I decided to make it part of my personality, and so that's why we're here. That's why I created my channel, and that's why I decided to jump onto BookTube. During my 30th birthday, last year, I rediscovered books. I rediscovered books because I went to Barnes & Noble. I was like, this is the year that I'm going to read a full book and get back to reading beautiful stories because I miss that. I miss delving into a fictional world and like learning things from it. And that's why we're here. And I did that. I bought a couple books and I really enjoyed it. And then I got really into it because I saw more people talking about recommending and enjoying books on Instagram and YouTube. I did not dip into TikTok because I feel like no matter what community is on TikTok, it always comes back with some kind of drama. And I'm at that life. I want wholesome. I want shared experiences. I want warm things to connect to, and drama, if not in a book, I don't want it. So I did see a lot of bookish stuff on Instagram and YouTube, and I enjoyed it so much, and I wanted to add my own stuff to it. And that's how we got here to me making videos of reading books that I love and discovering authors that I love and learning lessons from books that I want to share with you guys, because that's also a part of my brand of Chance at Life, of sharing lessons that I've learned in hopes to help. So the fact that I can do it while reading a book, because I learned so much more from a fictional book than a non-fictional book, and I'm here for it. And I want to share that experience and talk about those things with you. I answered the second question too. The second question was what this channel is about. And I feel like I answered that. I feel like I kind of answered that, but to get a little more definitive about what it's about me. I'm kidding. On this channel, you'll see 3 kinds of videos that I post. It's a Moody Monday video, what we're reading Wednesday video, and a van life video, because I live in a van. I didn't tell you that, but we're currently sitting in a van parked in a park because this is essentially my home. This is like where I live, and this is where I want to live in a life that I want. And so everything kind of stems from that. So what you'll see on this channel is me just kind of doing what I want which is a part of the Chance Out Life brand, but also reading what I want and then living this alternative lifestyle and just documenting it and sharing the experience with the world. And I have those 3 kinds of videos because I think it's what I enjoy, and what I enjoy always comes to the point where I'm like, okay, well, how can this help other people? How can me doing this stem from a place of giving back and not just like ego doing it for me? To be clear, all this stuff is for me, but part of it is to share it and to connect with other people who are doing the same thing and find community that way. So what you'll find on my channel is just a girl doing what she wants, how she wants, and sharing it to show people that there is no one way of doing something in the world. There is no one perspective to have on this world. There is no one way to think. There's no one way to create. There's no one way to live in this world. And if people can come by that kind of learning or lesson through me, I would love that, because definitely has not been the easiest thing to do for myself, but I've been able to do it. And sometimes when I reflect on it, I'm thinking this could definitely be something that people would want to see or learn from. And so I want to put it out there. So what you can expect from my channel is a girl doing what she wants, when she wants, how she wants, and sharing the experience with you. If you like that, press the subscribe button. If you like it sometimes and you just want me to come across your page as a surprise, don't press the subscribe button. Just wait for the surprise when I pop up on your screen. Either way, it's fine, but that's what you can expect from this channel. How did I get into reading and what book got me into reading? I'm happy you brought that up. I've been dying to talk about it for a good minute. When I was little, I would read all the time. My aunts would always take me and my sister to libraries while they were babysitting me when my mom was at work. I used to really love the library at my elementary school and high school, and I worked as a volunteer in those spaces, and I loved it so much, just being around all these books and talking about books with other people. When I was younger, I used to read a lot of romance stuff. One of the best books that I read when I was young is A Tale of Despereaux, and I read it while me and my sister were in Florida at my aunt's house. Again, she took us to the library. I grabbed that book, and when I tell you, it was one of the best books I ever read. I think maybe I was around maybe 10 or 11. Can't really remember. I remember the age, but I remember the day. I remember the library. I remember the way it smelled. I remember the story. And when they came out with a movie of that book, I was sad. That's what got younger Crystal into reading. What got older Crystal back into reading is, again, the love of a good story. We learn through stories. We live through stories. We pass down history through stories. And I love me a good story. And so when it was my birthday, I was like, I really want to delve back into reading. And I went to Barnes & Noble and I got 3 books. I got the Journals of Sylvia Plath. I got How to Lose the Time War or How to Win the Time War. And I got a Lucy Score book from the Riley Thorne series, which is a story about a psychic who ends up helping a detective solve a mystery. And there's a few books in that series that are kind of just like that, where she falls in love with the detective. They have a really cool, fun romance, but also she uses her powers to help solve crime. And he's like an overprotective kind of guy. It's great. Those were the 3 books that I purchased on my 30th birthday. And I'm slowly working. Hello, wind. Oh. What's crazy about living in a van is you have mini earthquakes. I'm kidding. But the wind be blowing, I be rocking. You know what I'm saying? But those are the 3 books that I brought and I finished, and I was like, I'm never leaving. How to Lose the Time War, How to Win the Time War, whatever, was such different book than I've ever read, but I loved it so much. And then the Riley Thorne series was such a cute, romantic, funny ragtag team that I just thoroughly enjoyed reading. And then when it comes to the Sylvia Plath journals, she was 30 years old when she passed away. And her journals from a young age are so interesting. She is such an amazing writer. And I can relate to so many things that she was able to put into words. So I'm slowly working my way through that. But that's what got me back into reading. Those stories had me delving deep into more stories. And currently my TBR on my Goodreads is about 235. My want to read is 252 books. So from last year, July 5th till now, I have just discovered so many books and authors that I want to dive into. So that's how I got into all of this. It was just that subtle desire to get back into reading that I didn't stop myself from leaning into. Did I read when I was younger, and what book did I read? You know what's crazy? I keep answering these questions before I even ask them. but that's just like a combined thing. So for a more definitive answer, when I was younger, I kind of read everything. There was romance. Even when there was romance in there were thriller in there were like some kind of mystery in there. There was a book I read called Crank, which is about a girl whose mother was on drugs. There was a book that I called that was called what is it? It was another book of this man, of this guy falling in love with this girl who was a prostitute. There was one book that I read where this was in high school. All this was in high school. There was another book that I read, and I can't. The second book I was talking about, that was called Candy. That book was called Candy. The third book that I read, it was called Cycle, and it was about a girl who, when she had her period, for 7 days, she wouldn't bleed. She would just turn into a boy. And during that time, her best friend fell in love with the boy she was for her cycle. That was crazy. That was such a crazy ride of a book to read. But can you imagine? She was in pain. Like the pain of growing a penis rather than pain of bleeding. I don't know what I would want. Neither really, because I assume it would be even more painful when the penis is going back into a vagina. Anyway, you're not here for that. But those are the books that I read when I was younger. That is not different than what I read now. I do love a good romance. I love a good love thing, even more so now that there's more Black love and Black women in those stories. I love it down. But every month I try to mix between thriller, science fiction, fantasy, romance, but also like romantasy. Like I try to get or historical fiction. I try to get a good mix of books, which isn't essentially what I used to do when I was younger. The next question is what my favorite genre is. Oh, my foot is asleep. There's a snake in my boot. I don't have a favorite genre. I don't have one. I just like a good story. If I'm leaning towards anything right now, it's more fantasy. There's so many series that I want to read, and each month I want to tackle a series. I'm currently in the middle of reading the 5th season, which is the first book in the Broken Earth series by N.K. Jemisin, and loving it down. Black author, Black characters, Black stories. It's a fantasy, and it's really good. Seeing myself in a book is just really, really, really good. So I don't really have a favorite genre yet, but I am on a fantasy kick right now. It could change at any minute. Ooh, pins and needles. What's worse, your foot falling asleep or it coming back to life? Where do I read? Baby, where don't I read? At work. Although there was one time where I was in a book that I didn't want to drive to work because I wanted to finish that book. So I Ubered to work, and while walking into work, I was still reading the book. I just wanted to get to the end. It wasn't even like an adventurous book. It was just a romance book it was just like a rom-com book that I wanted to finish because I wanted to see like what happens. That's all. And so I read pretty much anywhere. Anytime I got some space, I'm picking up a book. The one thing that's hard for me to do though is read in public. Although I like reading anywhere, reading in public is a little too hard for me. I won't not do it, but when I do it, my head and ear and like sight, all my senses are everywhere else because I'm like highly sensitive and very aware of my surroundings. Trying to delve into a book while so many things are happening to me or happening around me is difficult because I want to make sure I'm aware of things going down. Like I don't want to be like knee deep in a book and all of a sudden there's like an emergency and I don't know about it. Also, if somebody is talking next to me, like people are talking next to me, I'm in their business. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm just there. Like, I'm just in it. I'm literally just in it. And so it's hard for me to focus when I'm reading in public. But when I'm reading by myself, like in a little like corner all by myself, I'm just in it. And I can just like lose myself in a book. So I can literally read anywhere. I can read anywhere and I can sleep anywhere. Those are two capabilities that are going to be good when the apocalypse happens. What is my favorite format to read? Timey-wimey things. Anything with a dual POV and different timelines that all come to one. Maybe I'm sad. As I'm editing this video, I'm realizing that the question, what format you want to read in, is in fact the format of book, audiobook, or other. And I'm like, oh no, I like a good plot. Babe, it's not the plot, it's the format. It's giving Demi Lovato. What kind of dish do you like?
Your favorite dish?
My favorite dish? I like mugs because they're very comfortable in your hand and they hold the hot things that you don't have to touch. So, coffee or hot tea.
Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled programming. I am there for it. I love those. Okay, this mic thing, sorry. I love those things so much because, like, I'm a huge, you have to look to the past to help your future type of thing. I love it in a book where the present is being impacted by something in the past. We get to go back and look at it and see how it's impacting the present, but also fast forward to the future and seeing what they do now, how it impacts the future. That's pretty much how I think of everything, like even in life. So when it happens in a book and I can read it, it's so great. Going from books to movies, that's also how I love movies. There are two movies that I really, really, really enjoy. They're on my top 5. They're always gonna be on my top 5 until I die. If something comes and knocks them down, it would be the most incredible piece of media that I have ever watched because nothing has been able to like top it. The movies are Cloud Atlas and Slumdog Millionaire. Story of love, but story of love through timelines, and beautiful. So even if it's not a story about love, but it's still like dual POV, dual timeline, I love it. And I love it when I can figure it out before they even tell me. Because I know. I just be knowing. I love that. I love that format so much. A couple timey-wimey books that are like that I would love is How to Lose the Time or How to Win the Time War. I need to get this life. I need to get it together. Hold on. I can easily look this up. How to, is it lose or win? Lose or win? Ew, win friends and influence people. I don't give a How to lose the time war? Is it How to Win the Time War? Is it the war on time? This is how you lose the time. This is how you lose the time war. Nothing of what I said said that. Oh my god, wait, I just lied to you guys. Oh my god. I lied to you guys. The question, hold on, going back to what is it? How did you get into reading? I know I talked about what happened on my 30th birthday, but there was a prerequisite to that shit because in November, me and my friend were in Portland, Oregon, and we went to one of their biggest bookshops there. And I ended up getting a book called Crystal Cove, and I got it because all throughout the trip, I was seeing buildings and I was seeing my name everywhere. I was like literally seeing it on hotels. I was seeing it on signs, and I was like, okay, my name is everywhere. Because obviously my name is Crystal. It's not like a rare name, but when I see it, it's pretty cool. And so I went into the bookstore and I was like, I want a book, but I want a book that I can relate to. I said to my friend, I was like, I don't want some like really cringy romance. I don't want a self-help book. I don't want a mystery. Or I just want a story that I can relate to and that I can just thoroughly enjoy. And I couldn't find anything. Anything that I was reading just wasn't doing it for me until I found the book Crystal Cove. And Crystal Cove, the premise behind that book is that a woman named Justine, a witch, if you can believe it or not, she runs an inn, and she was taking in a famous rock star who happens to have no soul. Don't you hate when that happens? And things happen. He gets a soul. She helps with magic, whatever. But in that book, it reminded me about the risks of love and how it takes risks to love, whatever. Anyway, at the moment, I needed that down. Like, I needed that bad. And I was so happy that I found that book. And reading that book after that is when I delved back into reading. So anyway, that was the past. Let's fast forward to the future and the next question. Where is it? How fast can I read? Girl, I average 30 pages per hour. I think that's slow, but it is getting faster. Also, depending on the book, how good the book is and how much dialogue is in the book, I can read pretty fast, but on average, 30 page per hour type of gal. I'm not sure if that's slow or fast, but to me that's slow because I have so many books to read and I just want to read them all. And if I can just read faster, that'd be great. Favorite authors. I don't necessarily have one right now. I have some authors whose backlogs that I want to read, but they're not my favorite. I wouldn't say them. I don't think I really have a favorite. Let me think this through. Let's go through. Let's go through my list of Goodreads stuff because maybe I do have a favorite. I lied. Charmaine Wilkerson, the writer of Good Dirt and Black Cake, she'll get my money every single time she'll drop a book. Her stories are dual, triple, quadruple timelines, always based around some kind of cultural significant items, such as Black Cake, which is a Jamaican cake that is made for weddings and special events, or Good Dirt, which was I say pottery jar, but that's not what you say, but it was based upon a pottery jar that was made by the family's ancestor in slavery. And so her stories are dual, triple, quadruple timelines, always going back to the past, sometimes to the future, but always but always about like some kind of cultural significant item. And I love that. Love it down. So she'll get my money every single time she drops a book. So I would say her. Yeah, I think that's it for now. A lot of people do have really good stories, but I've only ever read one story of the authors that I have here. Or maybe not. Lucy. Okay, I lied. So the next author I would say is like not my okay, but they're not my favorite. I just want to read more of her stuff. I would say Lucy Score is another person who I've read multiple books of her because of the Riley Thorne series, but I wouldn't say she's my favorite. I don't know. But let's for now just put those two in there. I can see some authors becoming my favorite, but they are really good authors, but not my favorite. Anyway, how do I organize my books? What's my book selection looking like? So I'm a library whore. Because I decided to live in a very limited space. That means I have to limit the stuff that I put in that space. So I mostly go to the library for most of my books. So my library is like over here. I'll show you in a second. I have a two-tier shelf and a bag of books and then a basket of books that I put on my bed just while I make this video because I'm currently in its spot. I don't organize them at all. I will overlay a video here. It's just this camera is currently set up to what I think is the perfect angle, perfect spot, perfect lighting, and I'll be damned if I lose that right now. This all here is my library. This is how I do my books. Gotta love her. Gotta love her. Not much. I want more books. That's the issue, though. I want more books. Where would I put them? But no, I am a library whore. So I have a lot of books that aren't going to be staying here, which is pretty nice. But I have access to many more books. I'm saving money, but I'm not really saving space. So that's what my book collection looks like. That's how I organize my books. I don't. What books am I planning on rereading? I don't reread books, but since I had to go through the books that I own to organize them, and by organize, like we said 2 minutes ago, just put them on the shelf. I do believe that The Alchemist will be a book that I reread. Yeah, it's a quick read. It was a beautiful story, crazy story. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But I would reread it because it definitely is a fictional book where you can learn about self-mastery. You can learn about the life's up and downs, the yin and yangs, how to like take things as they come to you. It's a great book. It essentially is a book that says everything you need is right where you are. That's really it, and it's a beautiful book. So I would reread that, but currently there isn't another book that I'll reread because like we got there already, you know? We got there already. What are my reading goals? To read every single story that I want to read when I want to read it, before I die. But more definitively, in my Goodreads, I have a goal of 50 books to read for the year. Last year, my goal was, I believe, 25, and that's a lie. I think my reading goal last year was 12. Press on, read one book to get... I'm off track. March was a month of a lot of working stuff, so I didn't have time to read. And so before I was 2 books ahead, and now they're like, press on, read one book to get back on track. Back on track. Anyway, my reading goal for this year is 50 books. I've read 11 so far. It's currently April 1st, and I'm a fool. My past challenges, like last year for 2024, my goal was 12 books, and I read 28 books. My goal was 12 books starting in July, and I read 28 books. So I don't think I have any reason to not be able to read 50 books, but I want to read more than that because there are 252 books on my TBR, and there's probably more in my saved videos on Instagram, and there's probably more in my head. So I'm just going to read as much as I can when I can, but definitively I want to read 50 books this year. And then I also want to read some classics. So once a month I want to read a series, like a fantasy series, a complete fantasy series. I do not like open-ended stuff. I want to finish it. So every month I want to read a fantasy series. For the year I want to read 50 books. But also every month I want to read one classic. So like Pride and Prejudice, anything from Jane Austen, anything from like, I don't know, Virginia Woolf or like Edgar Allan. I want to read some classic literature because I do adore that kind of writing. I know that the book community now is definitely around fiction and tropes, but not about telling a good story. And I want to read more of that. I want to read more storytelling. I want to read captivating stories that are written in a way that knocks me the fuck out for 3 days after finishing. That's what I want to read, and I do think that I'll get that from some of the classics. So that's why I want to read that too. Those are my goals. That is where my loyalty lies. This is random. Do I leave bad reviews? I don't leave bad reviews. I leave honest reviews. And there's only been like 3 books that I've left like a bad review for. Maybe only 2 actually. Maybe only 2. Hold on. Let's go to the Goodreads. The first one that I left a bad review for was Memoirs of a Geisha. I'm more about feeling than I'm about anything else. So if a book makes me feel bad, I won't like it. And Memoirs of a Geisha although it was a great book talking about the geisha culture and about one geisha and her journey in that life and her life before it, during it, after it, I hated it because it was like they were really mean to women. So I gave it a 3 stars. Oh, actually, yeah, there were 3. There's 3 books. I found another one. I gave it 3 stars because it was a good book. I just hated the way it made me feel. Another book that I hated was Normal People by Sally Rooney. I think I just messed up because I saw the show first that had a better story and a better ending. But the book that obviously came out first did not have that ending. And so it pissed me off because at the end of the show, the female main character kind of was like better off. She came into her own. She learned about herself and how to be with herself, whereas and the male main character was a better person, and together they were like at the end they were good. They had quite a wild ride. But in the book, the male main character was so much more of a fucking dick. And at the end of the book, the female main character was just as down bad for him as she was before, and that pissed me off. Why would you write that? Why would you write that? I like the show better. So again, that was about feeling, but I guarantee you, if I probably read the book before I saw the show, I probably would have felt differently. Because I knew of an alternative ending, I didn't like the main ending. That's just who I am. There's another one. Oh, okay. As I'm scrolling through my Goodreads, I'm learning that I do give bad ratings. Next 2 and the last. Oh wait, there's more. Shit. Okay. Cool. Another book that I gave a really low rating to was a book called Homebodies by Tembe Denton Hurst. That story went on for so long and there was no plot. It was just this one girl who was wronged. It was about a woman who was wrong, like a Black woman who was wrongly fired from her job, but that's it. That was the story. She decided to make wrong decision after wrong decision, and then the story just ended. It was kind of just like fired, or I should say, because it's not even that high, like fired, mid-ground, and it just stayed mid. Pissed me off. So I was like, okay, is she going to overcome this? Is she going to become a better person? She had fired and she became the worst version of herself. And I understand that we need stories like that because that is a true story for someone else. Someone has become the worst version of themselves after something happened, but it ended there. It ended her with being the worst person. I was like, okay, it is shitty when things happen to you, especially if it's like racially charged, but girl, you ruined the rest of your life on your own. You know that, right? And she did nothing but complain that she lost her job, and that's the reason why she's a horrible person. The next one that I hated was Love in Other Words. So many people love this. So many people love this book down, and I see it on so many people's bookshelves when I'm watching their YouTube channel. I'm just like, did we read the same book? Because that story is about that Love in Other Words. Writers are Christina Lauren. Those are 2 women who just joint write books together. And that story was so adolescent and so messy. And people talk about it like it's this wonderful love story. And I'm like, how do you view love? Because we view it completely differently. And it just ain't it. It ain't it for me, homie. It just wasn't it for me. If you read it and you loved it, please tell me why. If you read it and you also felt the same way as me, hey, hi, welcome. Those were pretty much the only books that I ever gave like a bad rating. But it was just like an honest rating. I promise. It was just me being honest because what the fuck was that? We have one question left, and it is, do you see this being a business? And the answer to that is no. I do see myself creating a book club because I'm one of those people who reads a book, and when I have something to say, I'll look up to the imaginary book club and speak how I feel. And I would just love it if there were actual people there to listen as I speak what I feel and are also able to tell me how they feel. And I do want ARCs. Like I did last month get my first ever advanced reader copy. I accidentally hooked up with a vampire by Jessica Cage or Gage or Cage by Jessica Cage. And that was a very riveting experience because I was sent it, I was reading it, and then I got to review it, and my review like mattered. Whereas on Goodreads, I just be popping it in, no one really cares, but my reviews matter. So I wouldn't know what the business would look like. Like, do I want to get like like by business? Do you mean like get paid to review things or just get sent books? Do like sponsored stuff? I see people doing sponsored stuff like having their book club on a certain platform or getting sent things to review or do like a sponsored post for something. And maybe I'll do that, but I only want to do that if it's something that I truly want to do and I'm not just doing it for money. So I don't know what this would look like as a business, but I do want it to be a community and I do want us to like read the same books and like talk about it and have like our own like book club. But I'm not sure what the business aspect of it would be. I actually don't know what that would look like because although I think people do talk about the money they make from being on BookTube or BookTok or Bookstagram, I don't know what it would look like for that to be a business for me. Maybe get on a brand trip, but then to be on a brand trip, you have to like talk to people like often. And although I'm a people person, I got my limits. I have my limits. So I'm not quite sure what a business or this being a business would look like. And that's okay. And I think that's like perfectly fine. I just want to share stories. I want to talk about them and I want to do it with other people. That's just me. I'm just a girl who wants some friends, and if she makes some money in the process. But those are all the questions that I have chosen to answer today. If you have any specific questions that you want to ask me, let it rip down below. The question is not a fart. But if you have to fart, this is a pro-gas channel because we're gassy girls around here and that's okay. But let it rip comment-wise down below. Ask me anything you want. I literally am an open book. I just need to know what chapter you want to read. That's it. That's all. I hope you stay for all the other videos that I want to create on this channel and put out to you on this channel. But if I only see you on Wednesdays and you only see me on What We Reading Wednesdays, then that is okay. But that is it for this. Again, my name is Crystal Lee. Thank you for watching. I love you. I am grateful for you. And I will see you in the next story. Bye.